Good morning. Verse 17, Psalm 118. I shall not die, but I shall live and recount the deeds of the Lord. I shall not die, but I shall live and recount the deeds of the Lord. I want to give you a principle about God's rescuing love showing up as discipline. God disciplines us not for our destruction, but for our ultimate delight. He says, look, I'm under it. I'm under it, right? They're coming at me like bees. I shall not die, I shall live. And I'll recount the deeds of the Lord. I'm going to praise him, right? I'm going to give you a smattering of quotes. First one I'm going to disagree a little bit with, even though the context of where this individual and what they're trying to say probably isn't that incorrect. But there's a term that they use that sort of gets misused a little here. Martin Lloyd-Jones, great preacher, wonderful theologian, said this: God's great concern for us primarily is not our happiness, but our holiness. In his great love to us, he is determined to bring us to that, and he employs many different means to that end. Well, you might say, what's wrong with that? Here's the problem. It's juxtaposing happiness and holiness. And now here's the thing. If you mean by that fleeting, creaturely, sort of like good feelings, okay, fair enough. But happiness is a rich term, and I don't think we should let go of that term. God does want you to be happy, and he wants happiness and holiness to converge because you see the bigger picture of what he's doing in your life. Listen to Elton Trueblood. Trueblood said, any alleged Christianity which fails to express itself in gaiety at some point is clearly spurious. Gaiety means happiness. The Christian is joyful not because he is blind to injustice and suffering, but because he's convinced that these, in light of the divine sovereignty, are never ultimate. Though he can be sad and often is perplexed, he's never really worried. The well-known humor of the Christian is not a way of denying the tears, but rather a way of affirming something which is deeper than tears. Let's get even better. John Piper. In the pursuit of joy through suffering, we magnify the all-satisfying worth of the source of our joy. God himself shines as the brightness at the end of our tunnel of pain. If we do not communicate that he is the goal and the ground of joy in our suffering, then the very meaning of our suffering will be lost. The meaning is this: God is gain. God is gain. God is gain. One more quote, just a smattering of quotes this morning. Here's Tim Keller in his book, Walking with God Through Pain and Suffering. Christianity teaches that contra fatalism, suffering is overwhelming. Contra Buddhism, suffering is real. Contra karma, suffering is often unfair. But contra secularism, suffering is meaningful. There's a purpose to it. And if faced rightly, it can drive us like a nail deep into the love of God and into more stability and spiritual power than you can imagine. Remember that. There's purpose in it all. God is working for your joy, even in the midst of your challenge. Be encouraged today. Take care.